It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, Tinky Times from today, still technically today, 8/3/2026. Geopolitics, labor struggle, and socialist headlines. It covers some lovely, colorful cakes in Vietnam. Beautiful. They look tasty. They look tasty AF. Reaper drones downed. Ukraine terror attacks. Lao anti-corruption drive. Lao, Cuba, Vietnam, China, and DPRK news in this issue. Proposal only covers heavy weapon storage. Hamas representative. Wait, I need to do, I need to make a new scene really quick, actually. Duplicate reading. And I'm gonna turn off my, freaking alerts. Okay, Firebot goes away. Remove. Yes. Ko-Fi alert. Delete. Delete. Hello? Delete. Yes, delete. Tips, delete. Why are all my alerts spread the fuck out? These should definitely be together. Oh my, it's a mess in here. Oh god. Oh god, it's a mess. Twitch alerts. Sound alerts. Kick alerts. Blurp. God. I have way too many sources. Okay, that's an issue for another day. Okay, that should be sound free now. Gonna get rid of the chatters as well, actually. Just to make more space. Bear with me, chat. Hold. Slightly smaller, Lainey. Just for news. Okay? That's cleaner. Okay. Oh my god, my eyes. Ah! Ow! Alright. Proposals only covers heavy weapons storage, Hamas representative. This is Khaled Kudami in Tehran. Hamas official says the newly announced agreement to end Israel's genocidal war on Gaza does not signify abandoning resistance, but outlines a conditional Palestinian-led process contingent on the Tel Aviv regime fulfilling its obligations under the agreement. Speaking to Press TV website, Khaled Kudumi, the representative of Hamas in the Islamic Republic of Iran, expounded on how the Palestinian resistance movement views the newly announced agreement, which has been widely portrayed in media reports as Hamas disarmament deal, quote unquote. Palestinian resistance issues warning. Palestinian resistance groups have issued a stark warning after the deadliest Israeli airstrikes since October 2025 ceasefire, saying the relentless bombardment constitutes a deliberate sabotage of the truce and a declaration that Israel has no intention of honoring its commitments. Also, Press TV. IRGC shoots down U.S. MQ-9 Reaper. The Islamic Revolution Guard Corps, IRGC, has announced that its aerospace force shot down an American MQ-9 Reaper drone over the Strait of Hormuz using a modern and advanced air defense system. The IRGC stated Monday that further details would be announced subsequently. The downing, confirmed by the IRGC's officials, SEPA news outlet, marks the latest in a series of devastating losses for the U.S. military's premier armed reconnaissance platform. The MQ-9 Reaper, which the U.S. Air Force has called the most valuable player of its campaign against Iran, has suffered catastrophic attrition since the war began in late February. According to Bloomberg, Iran has destroyed over 24 MQ-9s since the start of the terrorist U.S.-Israeli war, nearly 20% of the Pentagon's pre-war inventory. At $30 million per airframe, the total damage is estimated at approximately $1 billion. God damn. The Air Force's operational Reaper fleet has fallen to roughly 135 aircraft, well below its minimum floor of 189, according to congressional testimony cited by Bloomberg and the War Zone. Press TV again. Long live the axis of resistance. Pentagon concludes agreements worth $3 billion to increase interceptor production volumes. The Pentagon has concluded agreements worth over $3 billion with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, aimed at expanding production capacities for munitions for Patriot and THAAD air defense systems, according to statements from the U.S. Military Department and Northrop Grumman. The Pentagon noted that the two framework agreements are aimed at expanding production capacity of critical missile interceptor components. The department emphasized that this will, in the future, help triple production volumes of PAC-3 missiles for Patriot and quadruple those for THAAD systems. Northrop Grumman clarified that two multi-year framework agreements worth over $3 billion were signed. Of this amount, $2 billion will be directed towards the production of engines and other systems for PAC-3, and $1 billion towards increasing production volumes of THAAD components over 7 years, from TASS. It doesn't seem like they can manufacture these quick enough to replace the rate at which they're using them. Again, attrition. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Hot Sauce. 7 people killed in drone attack on Galenzik. According to the latest reports, 7 people, including 3 children, were killed when a drone crashed in Galenzik. TASS has compiled the key facts about the incident. Ukrainian UAV attack on Galenzik. 21 people injured as a result of Ukraine's attack on Galenzik have been hospitalized, including 3 children. Alexei Kuznetsov, assistant to the Russian health minister, told journalists. 2 Zaporizhzhia NPP employees in serious condition after stepping on mine. 2 of the 4 employees of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant were injured when they stepped on a mine laid by Ukrainian troops in Energodar, are in serious condition, according to the facility's post on messaging app Max. Sorry, chat, I didn't pull the link for you. If you want to read any of these stories, you can find them all here. Pin. And pin. Okay. Crown drops nearly all charges from pro-Palestine sit-in at MP Bardisi's office. Criminal charges against 7 people who were arrested during a sit-in at the office of a member of parliament last fall have been dropped due to what the Crown called a lack of public interest, according to multiple people who attended the court proceedings. All 8 protesters were originally charged with forcible entry, unlawful assembly, mischief, and obstructing a peace officer. One arrestee still faces charges of mischief and obstruction. Rachel Friesen of the Legal Support Committee, LSC, a collective that supports people arrested in the Greater Toronto Area for organizing and protesting for the liberation of Palestine, tells The Grind that the news is unsurprising and fits into a larger trend. Toronto Police Service, TPS, Friesen says, have consistently overcharged people involved with pro-Palestine protests, and then have the Crown figure it out later. That's what they do here. The cops always slap the maximum charge possible, and then the judge is most likely going to drop it down because it's easier that way than adding charges after the fact, right? Like escalating a charge. The arrests occurred last October at the Toronto office of Liberal MP Karim Bardisi, who represents the riding of Parkdale High Park. This was during a wave of protests over Israel's kidnapping of dozens of people at sea, including Indigenous harm reduction worker and advocate Ms. Kwasin Agnew, along with 5 other people living in Canada. Agnew and others were traveling in international waters as part of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition in an attempt to break Israel's illegal blockade of Gaza when they were intercepted by the Israeli army. On October 8, 2025, hundreds of protesters in Toronto took to the streets, demanding that the federal government intervene to have Agnew and others released, and to call for an end to the siege on Gaza. Toronto police arrested 9 protesters and charged them with 3 counts each. Those charges were dropped by the Crown in January. A day later, on October 9, dozens of protesters staged a sit-in at the Toronto office of Liberal MP Karim Bardisi, who represents the riding where Agnew lives, demanding that the federal government take action. According to the defendants, one of Bardisi's staff opened the door of the office and protesters entered. Videos posted to social media show protesters inside the office chanting "No justice, no peace." Breaking and entering, or whatever. Silly. After receiving a 911 call from one of Bardisi's staff, the police entered the office and assessed the situation before dragging out and arresting 8 people. This week, 9 months after the arrest took place, the charges were fully withdrawn for 7 of the 8 protesters. This is from The Grind. I'm not familiar with The Grind. I'm gonna have to look at them. That's cool. Now it's time for the headlines from socialist countries. I have one of my own as well that I pulled, that we're just gonna read after. Socialist headlines. Jail for 15 government officials found guilty of corruption. The Atapu Provincial People's Court last week sentenced 15 government officials to prison in one of the province's largest corruption cases, with 10 of those convicted being life sentences. The offenses were committed between 2021 and 2024 and involved a coordinated scheme led by Mr. Suliai. The group was found to have conspired to misappropriate funds from 8 provincial budget allocations. The court heard that the total value of the funds involved 103 billion KIP, US dollars 2,356,000, and 1.5 billion Vietnamese dong. The Vietnamese currency was reportedly converted into KIP and baht. Following an investigation conducted by a special task force, authorities determined that the actual financial losses to Atapu province totaled 51 billion KIP, US 2,316,000, and 60,000 baht. This case is regarded as one of the most significant in Atapu province involving corruption. This is Vientiane Times. The path is difficult. The situation is complex, but our will to overcome is unwavering. Speech delivered by Miguel Mario Diaz-Canel Bermudez, First Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Cuba and the President of the Republic, at the closing of the 7th Ordinary Session of the National Assembly of People's Power in the 10th Legislature at the Convention Center on July 30, 2026, year of the centennial of Commander-in-Chief Fidel Castro Ruz. Sorry, chat. So many coughs. I repeat, economic and social recovery must go hand in hand. To be clearer, the gradual economic recovery must lead us, to the same degree, to social recovery, prioritizing the most vulnerable and those sectors with the greatest needs. In other words, economic efficiency must serve social justice, which encapsulates much of the meaning of the revolution and its commitment to the people. We are not going to establish predatory capitalism or a massive privatization of national assets, as some fear. Nothing could be further from the purpose of these transformations. End quote. Grandma. Incredible. I like this. No need to be a polyglot to read the news. Just go for it with the words is enough. People usually understand. Yeah. Because like, here's the thing. Like, these, all of these names are like anglicized. Like they are written in English to be easiest for English speakers to pronounce. That's why it's written in English, right? So, you know, it usually is like you don't have to overthink it, but I try. Welcome in, Hailstorm. Traditional cakes and dishes featured at Jiang's festival. No, sorry, Anjiang's festival. Hundreds of unique traditional folk cakes and signature dishes from southern provinces and cities, as well as many other localities nationwide, are available at the Southern Traditional Cake Festival held in the Mekong Delta province of Anjiang. The event has some 300 stalls featuring cakes and dishes, as well as a fair of the OCOP, one commune, one product specialties, and typical agricultural products. Cuisine artisans and chefs offer live demonstrations of various cakes and instruct visitors on how to make them. It creates a distinctive cultural and culinary space, attracting a large number of locals and tourists. V&A. Let's look at these cakes. Ooh. Oh, wow. Look at these little candies. Hold on. Can I open the image? I guess I just zoom in. That's so cool. All the little candies shaped like the little vegetables. It's so cute. It's so cute. Those look good. Those look good as hell. What's that? I want that. It almost looks like cornbread or something. I want to know. Mmm. Mmm. Pretty. So pretty. Fancy cakes, chat. This is what we could have under socialism. America builds walls. China paves roads. True. Artificial intelligence, AI, can become an international public good that benefits all of humanity. This proposition, advanced at the 2026 World Artificial Intelligence Conference, crystallizes a fundamental choice now confronting the world. We face a crossroads. One path seeks to enclose capability behind regulatory barriers, export controls, and proprietary moats. The other prioritizes open cooperation, low-cost deployment, and the deliberate diffusion of opportunity. The United States is building walls. China is paving roads. The consequences will shape not only technological trajectories, but the structure of global order itself. The American approach has hardened into a strategy of technological containment, dressed in the language of open innovation. Successive administrations have layered export restrictions on advanced semiconductors, tightened controls on model weights and training data, and promoted frameworks such as the U.S. AI Action Plan. I don't know about that. Does anyone know about the U.S. AI Action Plan? Oh, God. AI.gov. What? Why don't I know about this? Okay. Accelerate innovation, build American AI infrastructure, lead in international AI diplomacy and security. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read that later. I did not know about that. Okay. Concepts like adversarial distillation have been invoked to police knowledge flows, while initiatives such as the Silicon Peace Declaration attempt to rally allies around exclusionary standards. The rhetoric celebrates openness and democratic values. The practice constructs digital fortresses. Hypocrisy defines the modus operandi. These measures rest on a proprietary business model that treats frontier capability as scarce rent-gathering asset. Massive capital is poured into closed systems whose economic rationale depends on maintaining technological distance from competitors. Yet the model is already confronting insurmountable contradictions. Training and interference at scale demands enormous energy and capital intensity. Returns remain elusive for many commercial applications. CGTN. Whole country should go towards communism. True. True. On October 2019, the respected Comrade General Secretary Kim Jong-un inspected the Jungpyeong vegetable greenhouse farm under construction that was progressing at the final stage. Enjoying a bird's eye view of the majestic appearance of the sea of greenhouses stretching far from the observation platform, the respected Comrade General Secretary said with pleasure that the view from the observation platform was really spectacular, and that all the troubles experienced since the year before brought good results at last. Officials were also greatly impressed by the wonderful appearance of greenhouses of various shapes in the area, which had been an airfield sector a year before. The respected Comrade General Secretary underscored the need to actively introduce advanced technique and method of vegetable culture to introduce the output and active production so that the people of North Hamgyong province can benefit greatly from the farm before heading for the greenhouses. Feasting his eyes on various species of vegetables in full bearing for a long time, the respected Comrade General Secretary warmly said to the accompanying officials that it was really well done. And we decided on building the Jungpyeong greenhouse farm, and that the trouble was taken by us proved fruitful. Indeed, various species of fresh vegetables cultivated in every greenhouse are, before being a result of nature, precious fruition of the ardent love of the Great Father who cares for the most for the people. The respected Comrade General Secretary again headed for the newly built residential quarters. Dwelling houses of tens of diverse forms, as well as public service installations, standing in a row, presented a really spectacular sight. When he reached a low-storied flat, he pointed at a recreation ground, which had been arranged next to the flat, and suggested taking a break there. He enjoyed the view of flats, as he was rejoiced to provide the people with wonderful dwelling houses. Then he said with delight that he had done another great work for the people, and it brought him pleasure, and it made him recover from his fatigue, adding that he made a revolution to see such fruit. That's so beautiful. He stressed that he was more pleased to see the creations like Shanfyang Greenhouse Farm being erected in regions rather than seeing a new street being built in the capital city, adding that the whole country should go towards communism. All the people are confident that our country will shine brilliantly as the communist ideal land in which all the wishes of the people are realized, as we hold in high esteem the respected Comrade General Secretary who loves the people the most. Rodong Sinmun. Incredible. The watermelon ones. I also don't know, and that scares me, though I think I know the broad strokes just based on that. Sorry, don't know what. That's all the times. That's the Tanky Times. A tank tube production. Shout out Larry, um, who's heading this. Shout out Chimera, who helps. Oh yeah, yeah, the USAI. Yeah, that is concerning. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Um, I think it's probably just like a elaborate bailout plan, you know? It's probably that. Okay, I've got one more. It's pinned to the top again. If you want to read the rest of those headlines, you could the links are all in there at the bottom of. So like say you wanted to read this one, you just go click here. Let me see it. You just go click at the end of the article where it's highlighted VNA, and then it pulls the site for you. Mhm. Oh, here we go. We've got a caption. Palm sugar honeycomb cake. Ooh, made with natural palm sugar, rice flour, and coconut milk. It is a famous southern Vietnamese specialty for its distinct golden colors, sweet caramel taste, and signature spongy honeycomb texture. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, it looks so good. Mm-hmm. Some soup. Soup. Beautiful. Okay. The one I want to read is here. Um, so I'm going to show you the pictures first. Hello? Can I not zoom in? I'm sorry. Can I not zoom in? Apparently not. Okay. Um, they're just some pictures of Pyongyang. Some are like this is like a plan, a mock-up plan. Um, this is a real photo. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Lovely city. I want to go. Pyongyang, capital city of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is changing into a modern city of world standards, displaying its unique features. This is thanks to the Workers' Party of Korea that provides accurate and energetic guidance for it. Over the past 5 years, the WPK has given wise guidance for the capital city construction, which has added a legendary chapter to its history. The respected Comrade Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, reflected the desire of the people to live a more cultured life and better housing, made sure that a policy was adopted at the historic 8th Congress of the WPK to build 50,000 flats in Pyongyang, and organized and led a massive effort of building flats year by year thereafter. This affected a golden age of the construction of the capital city. At the second plenary meeting of the 8th Central Committee of the party, he put forward the housing problem as a major task to be taken on in the effort to provide the people with stabler and more cultured living conditions. On March 23rd, 2021, attending the groundbreaking ceremony of the project for building 10,000 flats in Pyongyang, he affirmed that through the project, they would make a further improvement to the appearance of the capital city and usher in an era of fresh, dynamic advance, when socialist construction would confidently developed. Sorry, when socialist construction would be confidently developed step by step. saying that the housing construction in the capital city was a project being accelerated by the party and the state as the most important task to realize their cherished desire and a promise made by the party and the government to help the people. He provided sagacious, sagacious guidance to make the capital city construction theater a main front, symbolic of a new period of upsurge and great turn in socialist construction. During the days from the beginning of construction of Songhua Street to the completion of the fourth stage, 10,000 flats construction in the Hwasong area, their respected comrade Kim Jong-un gave field guidance on the spot on a dozen occasions, making sure that the WPK's idea on architecture based on the people first principle was embodied perfectly in each of the structures. Over the years, when modern streets were built in Pyongyang, he examined thousands of formation plans. He examined the plans for the layouts of dwelling houses and their bird's eye views, repeatedly visited the construction site late at night and early in the morning to lead the work to steadily break new ground for the development of socialist civilization in construction. Thanks to his energetic guidance, miraculous construction legends were produced one after another during the construction of 50,000 flats in Pyongyang. To take a typical example, a skyscraper with nearly 900 flats in it, whose building needed excavating 102,000 cubic meters of earth and tamping 34,000 cubic meters of concrete, was erected in a matter of 80 days. With only 1 year, as many as 160 apartment blocks, public buildings, and service establishments, the total building area being 56 hectares, and the total floor space being well over 1 million square meters, sprang up to form Songhua Street as the first entity in confirming victory of the 5-year plan for capital city construction. Later, on the beautiful Pothong riverside, there was built a terraced houses district, which is an epitome of harmony between buildings and nature, with the natural features left as they are, and of organic scientific layout of the living and ecological spaces. The distinct serves as a standard and model of residential districts in the country. The first stage project for building 10,000 flats in the Hwasong area, coupled with the task of building more than 2,000 flats there in addition, was nearly 3 times greater than the workload for building Songhua Street, which had been constructed the year before, as it needed to erect hundreds of blocks of skyscraping and high-rise apartment houses, public buildings, service establishments, and other facilities in over 150 hectares. Undaunted by the scale of their assignment, the builders, by dint of their indomitable spirit of self-reliance and self-development, successfully carried out the plan, unfolding a wonderful picture of the house moving unique to the DPRK. As Pyongyang citizens were filled with dignity and honor, the year 2023 witnessed the groundbreaking ceremonies for the second stage 10,000 flats construction in the Hwasong area and for the building of a new street in the Sofo area. In 2024, the second stage project in the Hwasong area, whose scale was much greater than the first stage one, and the Janwi Street project were successfully completed. Thanks to the guidance of the WPK, the Hwasong area celebrated the third round of inauguration ceremony with the completion of another large architectural group, comprising spectacular skyscraping and high-rise apartment houses and distinctive commercial and catering establishments, strong in symbolism, all merging into an ideal harmony of formative art and of architecture and advanced civilization. With the inauguration in February 2026 of Sapol Street, as well as the fourth stage 10,000 flats in the project in the Hwasong area, which meant success for fulfillment of the last stage task for the 5-year plan of the capital city construction, the Hwasong area was transformed into an advanced administrative district. Seeing the wonderful development of the city capital, the capital city, over the past 5 years, a period of remarkable transformation, the Korean people are convinced that Pyongyang will continue to change into a still greater city of welfare with socialist culture in full bloom. Hell yeah. Hi, mice. Hell yeah. You'd love to see it. Hi. Hi, Arberlin. Hello. You love to see it. This is like, I've been following this plan, for a few years now, and, I just love to see them celebrating more and more developments. Um, so the 50,000 are done, and now they're expanding outside of the Walsing area, which is wonderful.